Thank you, Dick. Thank you, Cam. Those were two great, stirring speeches, and they weren't lost on me. I feel like I'm in the presence of greatness with some of the people that are on this stage today, and frankly, it's a sobering thought to really think about what we're doing in the shadow of what happened on this day in history. And as the two prior speakers, I please just indulge me for a minute as I dive into this. I'm going to rapid fire it. See what I did there? I'm going to rapid fire this history that a guy by the name of T.J. Martindale put this together. You can find his work on the 10th Amendment Center's website. If you haven't been there, you got to do that. The amazing work that they do. But I just want to push out a timeline because especially today, being on the Lexington Battle Green, we saw so many people carrying signs and what this means to them and all that. And really, unfortunately for us today in this movement, the world really doesn't know why the shot heard around the world happened. So let's jump into it. The Boston Massacre, we already heard about that today, started in 1770. Then in May of 1774, Parliament passed the Massachusetts Government Act, which appointed Thomas Gage as the royal governor and blockaded the continental government, or blocked the continental government. September 1774, Redcoats raided a Charlestown powder house and seized all but the continental government powder, and it became known as the Powder Alarm. It was Gage's warrantless search for what came next and what outraged the people the most. 1 month later in October, the Provincial Congress was born. John Hancock, its president, called on all private citizens to arm and drill. December 1774, Governor Gage agrees to disarm by force, and after a ban on all imports, restarts to disarm and seize the caches of weapons and powder. January 13th, 1775, they wrote after the First Continental Congress to the grievous acts and measures Americans cannot accept. It is worth noting that the American Revolution almost started when the Redcoats went to seize gunpowder in Salem in February of 1775, which resulted in 3,000 armed citizens showing up to protect it, which became known as Leslie's Retreat. January 1775 in the New Hampshire Gazette, the Sons of Liberty wrote, and I must here beg when we are by an arbitrary decree prohibited the having of arms and ammunition by importation. We have not by the law of self-preservation a right to seize within our power in order to defend the liberties which God and nature have given us. February 9th, right after that, Massachusetts Bay was declared a state of rebellion. April 1775, the British continued to seize weapons and powder. This all came to a climax and a tipping point on April 19th, 1775, and the rest, they say, is history. After Concord and Lexington, Gage began to be more shrewd, came up with the world's first gun buyback program. He collected 2,674 guns from the colonists who handed them over to Gage for the promise of safe passage out of Massachusetts. He didn't even give him an Amazon gift card. He just said, I'll let you leave. And guess what? Here's the spoiler alert. He lied. He didn't even let him leave. Isn't that something? I know. Shocked, right? So what would have happened had we lost the Revolutionary War? Parliamentary documents show what the future fate of America would be once conquered. I quote, "The militia laws repealed. Arms of all people should be taken away, nor should any foundry or manufactory of arms, gunpowder, or warlike stories ever be suffered in America. Gunpowder, lead, arms, ordnance to be imported without license." Sound familiar? Today, at the Old North Bridge, Maura Healey said, We see things that would be familiar to our revolutionary predecessors. Amen to that. She's speaking truth so far. The silencing of critics, the disappearing people from our streets, demands for unquestioned fealty. She said, due process is a foundational right. If it can be discarded for one, it can be lost for all. I find that incredibly ironic, just like the irony of the people who don't know why the British marched to Lexington and Concord to seize the powder, the arms. And that was the tipping point of the American Revolution. That was the final straw, if you will. And ironically, if you go back a little bit, Governor Gage first threatened the colonists with seizure of weapons at the end of the sword. He didn't do it, he threatened it. That also sounds familiar. We see our government today threatening lawsuits, threatening prosecution, threatening at the end of a gun to put you in behind bars if you decide to exercise your right to keep and bear arms in this state. The irony is not lost on me. I wonder, and I see two possible paths, two possible roads for us to go. Actually, they're probably linked together and inseparable in some ways going forward. One is to wake people up and to say, do you realize, I know you don't have a dog in the fight, you're not a gun owner, fine. But there's something you care about. There's some right that you care about. There's some issue you like to speak on. There's some thing in your life that you believe in, right? And if you can take away the Second Amendment by a vote in Congress or in the State House and a signature by the governor, was it ever a right? I don't think so. That's how privileges are treated. That's what tyrants say. That's what Lord Dartmouth told Thomas Gage at the behest of King George III was, go round them up, go seize them, go take them. And ironically, after they took the powder from that foundry or the magazine in New Hampshire, they actually said Thomas Gage had every right to do that. He was within his rights to do that. That's when the citizens of Massachusetts and New Hampshire and Connecticut and Rhode Island all said, oh, no, you don't. You don't have that right. That isn't given to you by man. That is granted to us by our Creator. And it is self-evident that all men are created equal and are endued by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, unalienable, which means you can't put encumbrances, you can't put conditions, you can't put attaches on those rights. Those are not, they're off limits. And I love what the gun dude said. By what authority? There's no provision in any constitutional document, state or federal, that grants the State House to do what they did. So if therefore they do it, they're doing it in violation of their oath of office. They have become the enemy of the Constitution that they swore an oath to protect. They have violated their oath of office. And frankly, that should disqualify them for service. Period. Full stop. So our first job, as I said, is to educate. And I believe we have an opportunity to do something that our founders weren't afforded. And that is, we can do this peacefully. They couldn't. And they paid a high, steep price. We live in the shadow of what they did. And that is a heavy weight for us to bear, a heavy weight for us to carry. We can do this if we all do our part, if we all get involved, if we all support candidates, if we run, if we feel that calling, if we write a check if we need to, we hold a sign, we put a bumper sticker, we make calls, we send some text. This isn't a shoo-in. We can take this back. We can win this. And that brings me to my third point about that. Those are the path of what we should do. Someone asked me earlier tonight, what do we do if like the Supreme Court lets us down. What do? We already have our government in Massachusetts has let us down. We already have the courts of Massachusetts have let us down. We've already have, the governor has let us down in a big way. So when all three branches of government conspire against our right to keep and bear arms, what do? Well, I say we conjure up that spirit that was set forth in 1700s, and they became ungovernable. And I believe that is something we need to keep alive and well. And maybe, just maybe, Massachusetts can be a state of rebellion again. Thank you. I'm never going to do it as well as Charlton Heston, so I'm not even going to try the cold, dead hands moment. But this here is a musket that was donated by Bill Bayshant, wherever he's sitting out here. He has a gun store in Carver, and he's phenomenal Second Amendment advocate. He did so much for this weekend and the midnight ride that we did. So thank you, Bill, for donating the weapon. And then my gunsmith team worked tirelessly on this rifle to engrave the 8 names of the people who died on Lexington Battle Green. It says 1775 and 2025, the 250th anniversary of the shot heard around the world. It's got a We the People challenge coin on this side. It's engraved We the People in the stock. And it has a little Gadsden snake here that says join or die. And I find that incredibly appropriate today. Like Ben Franklin said, if we don't hang together, we will certainly all hang apart. And I think that saying goes for us here in Massachusetts, where we can easily say, that guy, he's got black guns. I don't really care about that. I shoot skeet on Saturday. Or, I already got my pre-ban. Or, I just want a couple pistols. And, I was smart enough to buy before all this nonsense went down. We got to stop that. We have to join together at arm in arm, hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, and all carry the weight of this burden that our founders left us with. And we need to honor them by being strong together and saying, not one more inch, more Healy, and we are coming for our rights. So this will be auctioned off tonight for the Civil Rights Coalition. All the money will go to it. It's got the 8 people who died on Lexington Battle Green. It's got a poem engraved in the top of the commemorating the battle. I know it's not period, but there's a Betsy Ross flag on the rear sight. It was Cerakoted and engraved by my team. We're really proud of it. And so I hope you guys got a good look at it when Jeff was bringing it around, or maybe you saw it from me. And we're going to auction this off tonight and hopefully raise some money for the Civil Rights Coalition, because the battle is just starting. Today is the official launch of phase 2 of the ballot committee. We are going to put boots on the ground. We're going to put bumper stickers on cars. We're going to knock on doors. We're going to have signs in yards. We're going to put people to work, and I hope you're ready. We're going to raise some money, and it's time to take our rights back, and not just the right to keep and bear arms, but all of our rights are worth preserving. All of our rights are worth taking back. Thank you.